Hi everyone, Laura Kalk here with In Bloom Yoga and Wellness. And today I want to talk about yoga and strong bones. So, yoga is not necessarily the best weight bearing exercise you can do, but in this video, I am going to show you how you can make it more weight bearing to improve your bone strength. Okay, so a little bit about me. I have been diagnosed with osteopenia a couple of years ago. So I'm looking forward to seeing how my yoga has had an impact on my bone strength or my bone density. So there's, I, strong bones, it's so complicated as far as different supplements to take and your lifestyle and medications that you take there, and how much protein your diet, your how much protein you intake. And so it's so complicated that there's a couple of people that I want to mention that I encourage you to follow. Dr. Mary Claire Harver, MD and nutritionist. She is the author of The Pause Life. And then Dr. Amy Shaw, she's also a doctor and nutritionist, and they're all over social media. Follow them. They really help people, they help women navigate through the perimenopause and menopause stages of life. And so the the other thing I want to mention is yoga, even though it may not be the best weight bearing exercise you can do, it helps in so many ways in addition to possible, bone strengthening, right? What it does is it increases awareness, like body awareness. It increases your, mentally. It increases flexibility. And so what those help is possibly preventing a fracture. There's a Dr. Doug Lucas, the author of The Osteoporosis Breakthrough, and he talks about the effects of a broken hip over the age of 60. So he says he breaks them down into three categories. So if you break a hip over the age of 60, 30% are most likely to pass away within the subsequent 12 months. Another 30% are going to be requiring 24-hour care. They're going to be dependent in their activities of daily living for the rest of their life. And another 30%, they do increase their level of functioning, but they never get back to their previous level of functioning. And he says, and oftentimes they can't even walk independently across a room. So that's what I love about yoga, is that with the increase in body awareness, increase in flexibility, and strength, it does help you to possibly prevent a fracture, right? You are able to maybe be more flexible to where you can break a fall easier. Or if you do have a fracture, perhaps you'll be in that small percentage where you're able to recover as fully as possible and quicker. Okay, so that's some of the reasons that I do love yoga. And also, part of the things that someone can do to help in this, you know, navigating the osteoporosis or, bone health is stress management, right? And that's the other thing that yoga does. It helps you manage your stress. So, with that being said, what are some other general things that someone can do. Stop smoking if you're smoking. Stop drinking dark sodas. The thing about bone growth is that there's always a continuous cycle of building bone and reabsorbing bone in your body. Okay, so things tell the cells to create, to build your bones with strength training and with weight bearing exercises, right? That tells your bones, hey, create more bones, build more bones. But then when you're inactive, right, the absorption of the bones might take over. So that's generally what we want to do. We want to be more active, more weight bearing exercises to help our body produce more bone than it is absorbing. Okay, so what are some other things? Avoid dark sodas, avoid smoking, enough protein, and supplements. So, anyway, you guys follow Dr. Mary Claire Harver, Dr. Amy Shaw, and Dr. Doug Lucas. They have great information on the internet and some books that can be helpful. So, as I mentioned earlier, with yoga, and this flow in particular, I am holding the poses a little longer to help create more of the weight bearing. So, what you can do, my intent is to hold these poses for approximately 45 seconds to a minute, and within that time frame, if you cannot do a full minute or 45 seconds at a time, you can break it down into 15-second increments. So maybe that's more attainable to you. And the other thing I want to mention is this is something that, you might want to discuss with your doctor. It's important to, before you exercise, it's important to talk to your doctor. Are these appropriate for you? Another thing to mention is that, this is your body. Everybody's different. I am guiding you today, but there's, you listen to your body. You know you, and you know what you need. So don't do anything that doesn't feel right in your body. And I invite you to, if you'd like to join me today, grab a mat and some blocks, and we will get started. And I look forward to practicing with you today. Hi, everyone. If you have your mat and your blocks, we can get started. So today's practice, I would like to start off with reminding you of the Ujjayi breathing. With Ujjayi breathing, it's called victorious breathing. You breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. You constrict a little of your throat to where the air goes to the back of the throat and makes an oceany sound. Another option is imagine that your hand is a mirror and you are trying to fog it up. That is the same sensation that you want to have, but your mouth is closed. Okay, so I invite you to practice Ujjayi breathing during today's practice. And let's start with easy seated and twist. So we're going to twist to our right. We're going to And try to create more of the twist in our torso. So place your right hand behind you with your fingertips on behind you on the floor or mat. Your left hand on your right knee and your gaze over your right shoulder. So inhale tall. Try not to lean back here. Sit up nice and tall. And exhale, twist. Inhale tall. And exhale, twist. Inhale tall. And exhale, twist. And come back to center. Then we're going to do the same thing on our left side. So right hand on your left knee, fingertips behind you, and your gaze over your left shoulder. So inhale tall, exhale twist, inhale tall, and exhale twist, inhale tall, and exhale twist. And come back to center. All right, now we're going to get on our hands and knees for tabletop. So with the tabletop, in tabletop, we stack our shoulders over our elbows over our wrists, and then our hips over our knees. Okay, so here we want to inhale, lift your chest, drop the belly. Exhale, round the back, chin to chest. Inhale, drop the belly, round the back, tailbone comes up. Exhale, round the back, chin to chest. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, round the back. And now we're going to thread the needle. So with thread the needle, you bring your right arm up, big inhale, big stretch to the right, reach for the sky, and then exhale, thread the needle, right cheek on the mat, left arm extended out. Deep breath. Deep breath. Deep breath. Now bring your left hand by your head, push yourself up, unthread the needle, big reach to the right, big inhale, and release. All right, now we do the same thing on the left side. So left arm up, big stretch, big inhale. Exhale, thread the needle, left cheek on the mat, right arm extended out. Deep breath. Deep breath. One more. And bring your right hand by your head, push yourself up, unthread the needle. Big reach to the left, big inhale, and exhale, release. Now we're gonna go into child's pose. So with child's pose, we bring our knees to the outer edges of the mat, big toes to touch. Let your sit bones melt into your feet. Walk your hands forward. Let your chest melt into the mat, and then your forehead on the mat. Deep breaths here. This is a good time to set an intention for the class. Maybe it's a word like strength, love, peace. And bring your hands to the outer edges of the mat. Push yourself up your chest up, untuck your toes, and come up into our first, lift your sit bones all the way up and come up to our first downward dog. So with downward dog, we're using our forearms here. Our gaze is in between our legs. Maybe you're bringing your weight more to the outer edges of your feet, walking the dog, so to speak. But your core is engaged, your fingers spread, and you're using your femur, strengthening your femur bones, your forearms, wrists, and slowly tippy toe to the top of the mat. And keep your feet about shoulder distance apart. Let your head hang heavy. Feel that length in your hamstrings. Let your arms hang heavy. Maybe your hands grasp opposite elbows and you're swaying left and right. Your weight mainly on your heels here. Deep breaths. And slowly rise to standing, one vertebra at a time. Woo. Okay. So now we're going to get into Tadasana, or mountain pose. So with mountain pose, our feet are about shoulder distance apart. And lift your kneecaps as you engage your quads. Your navel is in, up and in, shoulders up, back and down. Whew. Now here, bring your hands together for Samastiti. And we're going to get into Utkatasana, or chair pose, for about 45 seconds. And inhale, arms up in chair-like pose. So here, bring your hips under and keep your core engaged. Here we're strengthening our femur, our shins, our pelvis, our spine, and our feet and toes. So look down, and if you can't see your toes, scooch back just a little bit, but be sure to keep your hips tucked under and your core engaged here. Deep breaths. You got this. Deep breaths. Keep that core engaged. Keep those hips tucked under. It's a reminder to myself as well, because it's easy to stick your butt out there. And exhale, forward fold for Uttanasana. Your hands, if they can't reach the floor, you can just put them on your shins. And halfway lift, long back, straight back. Look forward and down, and your hands on your shins, shoulder blades back. And now we're going to get into Vinyasa, or Chaturanga Dandasana. Exhale, place your hands down. Place your feet back into a high plank. If you can do this on your knees if you'd like. So here we're holding a plank. Look forward, elbows in, is you push up a little on your tippy toes and down, halfway down. Exhale and inhale into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana or upward dog, and exhale into downward dog. Now, here, let's bring our right foot forward in between our hands and our left foot flat at a 45-degree angle. Your toes should be pointed towards the top left corner of the mat. Rise into Virabhadrasana 1 or Warrior 1. Here we're strengthening our femur, pelvis, spine. So here you want your right foot, your right knee over your ankle. And don't worry as much about your hips, but your chest should be forward and aligned. And your weight should be equally distributed between both feet. I used to think that a long, wide stance was best, but actually a stance that makes you feel more supported is the best. So here we have a few more seconds, keeping your core engaged, shoulders up, back, and down. And exhale into Virabhadrasana 2. So here, I'm going to turn around so you can see me, okay? Here, your back foot should be aligned with the back edge of the mat. You don't want your booty sticking out, okay? Or you don't want it too far forward, just over, just right. If you imagine a clock, okay, you don't want it, or a bell, right? You want it aligned perfectly. Okay. Your arms stretched out. Relax your shoulders away from your head. We're going to try something here to engage your arms a little more. Palms up. Inhale, sternum up. Exhale, palms down, sternum down. Inhale, palms up, sternum up. And now bring your head to neutral. Keep your arms where they are. And just turn your palms down. Gaze over your front middle finger. And that is the perfect Warrior 2. So we're going to stay here. Your feet are engaged. You want to have your weight equally distributed between both of your feet. Core is engaged. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. As I mentioned earlier, you can always break this down into 15-second increments. But here we're using our femur, our pelvis, our hips, our arms. Deep breath. Deep breaths. And now I'm going to turn back around. Stay in that Warrior 2 position. We're even using our shoulder blades and spine here. Now, straighten your front leg, and keeping your left shoulder open, reach forward, bring that right hand down, left arm up, and this is Trikonasana. Keep that shoulder nice and open. Maybe you can place your hand on a block or wherever it lands. Deep breaths. I'm watching the clock here. 45 seconds is the goal for the weight bearing. Deep breaths. Maybe your gaze, you could be looking down, or you could look forward, or you could look up. Deep breaths. Try not to place a lot of weight on your block. Just keep it here for your stability to get the maximum amount of the weight bearing. Deep breaths. And engage your core. Come back up. And then exhale. Cartwheel your hands back down into another vinyasa. So you bring another Chaturanga Dandasana or vinyasa of your choice. Look up, elbows in. Exhale, going down. Untuck your toes, come back up for upward dog or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, and exhale into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Deep breaths. Now bring your left foot forward, right foot flat at a 45-degree angle. Inhale and rise to a warrior one. Maybe slight back bend. Relax your shoulders away from your head. Shoulders up, back, and down. Weight equally distributed between both legs. Core engaged. Deep breaths. Feel that energy coming in through your feet and out through your hands. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Now, let's get into warrior two. So, swing your arms out, and your back foot is aligned, is parallel with the back end of your mat. You're still bent into that front leg. Again, relax your shoulders away from your head, and we're going to do the same thing we did with warrior two on the other side. So palms up, inhale, sternum up. Exhale, palms down, sternum down. Inhale, palms up, sternum up. And now just bring your head to neutral and keep your arms where they are, but just turn your palms down. So this is a perfect warrior two. So we're going to be here for about 30 more seconds. You got this, y'all. We got this. Gaze over your front middle finger. We got this, y'all. Core engaged. weight equally distributed between both legs, both feet. Just as a reminder, we're using our femur, we're strengthening our hips, our ankles, our upper arms, our shoulder blades, y'all, and our spine. Y'all, we are doing so much here, helping our bones so much here. All right, now we're gonna straighten that front leg. Gonna get into Trikonasana or triangle pose. Keep that right shoulder open, reach forward, and bring your left arm down, right arm up. Again, you can have a block here, but don't place all of your weight on it. You want to get as much of the weight bearing as possible during this. So I'm watching the clock here. Keep that core engaged. You can have you can gaze down or forward or up. Keep breathing deep, deep breaths. You got this. Y'all, we're doing so much to help strengthen our bones here. So proud of us, proud of you. Deep breaths, deep breaths. We're almost there, almost there. Keep that engagement. Or, as I mentioned earlier, you could break it down into 15-second increments. All right, now keep your core engaged as you come back up, back into Warrior Two, and then exhale, cartwheel your hands back down into another Chaturanga Dandasana or Vinyasa of your choice. So core engaged, look forward, elbows in, inch forward a little on your tippy toes, down, halfway down. Untuck your toes and inhale into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana or upward dog, and exhale into downward dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana. Here, our core is engaged. Deep breaths. Now, maybe we're gonna look at the clock here. Now, maybe we are pedaling our feet. Maybe we're shaking our head yes and no. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Relax your shoulders away from your head. Deep breaths. With downward dog, I like to explain it like, imagine someone pulling up at your hip creases. That is a sensation that you want to feel. All right, now tippy toe to the top of the mat. Gaze to the top of the mat. And inhale, halfway lift, long back for Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold for Uttanasana. And use your core to inhale and arms up, gaze up. And we're going to get in chair-like pose. Core engaged. Remember, hips tucked under. So here, just as a reminder, we are using our wrists, our arms, our shoulders, our femurs, and lower legs. We are using our pelvis, our spine, our shins. Deep breaths, core engaged. Okay, your weight is more on your heels here. Keep that core engaged. Keep that your hips tucked under. We got this, y'all. We got this. Just a few more seconds. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. And exhale into Samasthiti. Whew. Yeah, that was a lot. Okay. Everyone, let's get into Vrksasana. So with Vrksasana or tree pose, it's very important to remember with any balance poses that you want to imagine that you are a doll with a string at the crown of the head and someone is pulling up on that string. And you want your drishti in one spot. So your gaze in one spot. It's two very important things for standing balances. So here, let's place all of our weight on your left leg. Let's get into mountain pose. So our toes and our heel are nice and grounded into the mat. Lift your kneecap as you engage your quads. Navel in, up and in, shoulders up, back and down, and hands together at heart center for Samasthiti. So keeping your gaze in one spot, bring your right leg up. Place it on your standing leg. Bring it out. Feel that extension in your right leg. It could be down here, it could be here, or up here. Deep breaths. You're doing great. Deep breaths. The beauty of this tree pose is that you are strengthening the area where your femur and pelvis meet, and that is the most common area of a hip fracture. Deep breaths, maybe grow your branches. You're doing great. If you're falling out of it, it's okay. Get back in. You're still making progress. Progress is the key. Progress over perfection. Deep breaths and release. Woo. Now bring all of your weight to your right leg. Toes and heel nice and grounded into the mat. Lift your kneecap as you engage your quads. Navel in, up and in, shoulders up, back and down, and hands at heart center for Samasthiti. Again, you can keep your hands in Samasthiti or place your hands on your hips. Bend your left leg, place it on your standing leg where it feels good. Bring it out, feel that extension. Again, as long as the heel of your foot is not directly on your kneecap. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Remember to keep that drishti in one spot. You're doing great. You're building that section. You're building the strength in the area where the pelvis and hip meet. Deep breaths. You're doing great. Building bones here, building strength in your bones. Even if you're falling out and getting back in, you're still building some strength. Just keep practicing. You'll get there. You got this. and release. Okay, now let's start at the top of the mat, and we're going to get into Shalabhasana. So inhale, arms up, gaze up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, long back for Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant your hands down. Step back into a high plank, but this time you're going to drop your knees, drop your chest, and place your hands by your side, palms up. Now, one cheek on the mat, and here we're gonna practice Shalabhasana for about 15 seconds, and we're gonna do it 3 times. So this is locust pose. So here we're going to look forward and then lift your chest, lift your arms, but bring your shoulders up, back, and down, and lift your legs and thighs off the mat. Deep breaths, deep breaths, deep breaths. And release, opposite cheek on the mat. And bring your head forward. Again, lift your chest, shoulders up, back, and down. Lift your arms and lift your thighs off of the mat. Deep breath. Deep breath. Deep breath. And release, and opposite cheek on the mat. Now one more time, look forward, lift your chest, shoulders up, back, and down, and legs up, thighs up. Deep breath. You got this. Deep breath. Deep breath. And release. Whew, opposite cheek on the mat. Now bend your knees and windshield wipe your legs left and right. Good job, y'all. Good job. Okay, now push yourself up to sit on your feet and your legs sitting up. Now, carefully swing your legs forward. We're going to lay on our back. So scooch down a little. We're going to lay on our back with our feet, with our knees bent and our feet flat on the mat. So lay back. Place your head down, neck nice and long. And we're preparing for bridge pose. So your arms are by your side, palms down. Okay, so you're going to walk your feet as far back as possible, hands by your side. What we're going to do here is we're going to inhale, lift your sit bones, push down on our arms and our legs, lift our sit bones, and we're going to push it so far up that our chest almost touches our chin. So big inhale, lift, lift. Keep your neck nice and long. Deep breaths. Shoulder blades come together. Deep breaths. And exhale, release. Woo. Now, reposition your feet if necessary, if they've sloped a little. And again, inhale, lift. Shoulder blades together. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Deep breath. And slowly exhale and come back down. Ooh. Now, one more time, reposition your feet if they've slipped. But here we are strengthening our hip bone, our femur bone, even our feet. All right, so you got this, y'all. The last hard thing we're doing today. So inhale, push down with your arms, down with your feet, lift, lift, lift. Shoulder blades come together. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. And slowly exhale and come back down. Good job, y'all. Good job. Okay, now let's get into a supine twist. So bring your left ankle to your right knee. So you have a figure four. Bind behind your right leg if you would like. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Now release the bind and place your right foot back on the mat. Place your arms by your side out, extended out, keeping your shoulders on the mat. Let your legs fall. Still in figure four, let your legs fall to the right and your gaze to the left. Feel that nice stretch in your lower back. Release all the tension. All the hard stuff is over. Did great. Deep breaths. Now bring your legs back to center and release the figure four. Extend your legs out, arms over your head for a full body stretch. Now bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a nice big hug. Maybe roll around a little bit if that feels good to you. Give yourself a nice little massage here. Back massage. Okay, now release the bind. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So with your knees bent, feet on the mat, place your right ankle on your left knee, bind behind your left leg. Deep breath. Deep breath. Now release the bind. Place your left foot back on the mat. Place your arms by your side, shoulders on the mat. Keep your shoulders on the mat. And let your legs fall to the left and your gaze to the right. Deep breaths. Release that tension. This is one of my favorite stretches. Deep breaths. Now bring your legs back to center. Extend your legs out and your arms over your head again, like we did earlier. Full body stretch. Now bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a nice big hug. Roll around a little bit if you'd like. Deep breaths. Maybe you'd like to get into happy baby, where you spread your knees out and you grab hold of your feet and you just like you see a baby in their crib. One leg higher than the other, rolling back and forth. Now we're getting prepared for Shavasana. So in Shavasana, we basically extend your legs out, your arms by your side, either palms up for receiving or palms down for grounding. So basically what you feel you need most at this time. So for me, I feel like I need receiving, and take up as much space with your legs as possible. Get as comfortable as possible. Most people close their eyes and just stay here as long as you'd like. Thank you for practicing with me today. As always, I appreciate you. Like my page, subscribe, maybe save this video for another time that you'd like to strengthen your bones. Share this video with anyone you think might benefit. Namaste, my friends.